I am giving you the best free resources to learn French online. I've included a lot of resources in this video, so if you do wish to have a much less overwhelming, less frustrating way to learn languages with confidence and know the best strategies and resources that fit you, your energy, and your goals best, sign up to work with me down below in the comments in one of the workshops that I host year-round. I'll also be providing both A1 and B1 study plan examples at the end of this video. The first course that is totally free that you can audit online is actually from edx.org. From the University of Montreal, they do have an elementary French course, and for those just starting out with French. Now, of course, you can buy a course certificate or audit the course for free. And yes, the course is produced from Montreal, but the basics of the French language, such as telling time, greetings, asking for help, learning the alphabet, and pronunciation are all learned through standard French here. Something that I can recommend to probably A1 up until intermediate learners is actually the course from Annenberg Lerner website. The series is actually called French in Action. You may need a VPN if you are outside of Canada and the US in order to access it. It is an episode series made of 52 hours of content from Yale University. And the program essentially follows the adventures of Robert, who is an American student, and Mireille, who is a young French woman. And each 30-minute episodes provides context for learning new words and expressions. The next online course that I can recommend everyone to follow after they finish the elementary course is the B1/B2 Étudier en France course on Coursera. Now, this was made by the Institut Polytechnique de Paris, and there's material that covers week 1 up until week 6. All instructions are in French, and as you can guess by the title, all themes involved are about living and experiencing France, plus a great grammar review and instruction. I also found snippets of listening exercises to be really, really authentic. I even had to go back and review what I had listened to because they come from movies, they come from shows, they come from real French that is spoken, not just scripted French that is super, super clear all the time, which was a plus for me as an intermediate French learner. Themes that the course covers include arriving in France, adapting to life in France, becoming a student in France, taking courses in France, communicating and integrating, and living in France. And I think you're going to get a lot out of the course, even if you're not planning to move to France or you're not a student anymore. Like me, again, you have a lot of grammar, vocab, oral and written expression practice, listening and reading comprehension, and also discussion and debate sections for each week. Now, that last section is only offered for people paying to receive certification after they pass the course at the end. Another bonus review course that I would highly, highly recommend you, especially to review some certain grammar points, the On Ramp to AP French Language course for A2 to B2 on EDX. For anyone who is looking to become more advanced in French, the Institut Polytechnique de Paris also made a recent C1 to C2 course called Comprendre la France, Advanced French Language and Culture. And there you're going to cover politics, historical figures, culturally significant places, science, France's position in regards to the rest of the world, etc. I do, of course, recommend that you supplement the courses that I just listed with textbooks or French videos, etc. Just using these are going to get you a really good basis, but there's a lot more practice to be done outside of them. However, they're a great starting point if you are looking for ways to structure your learning and streamline all of the organization of your resources into just 3 or 4 courses that are free. Next thing I recommend is Lingoda, actually more so the Lingoda slides. If you are not ready or financially able to invest in private or group semi-private lessons in French, you can still download Lingoda slides for free. They actually cover all the levels from A1 up until B2. And honestly, I like downloading those slides and just reviewing on my own because they do highlight the grammar points, the new vocabulary under certain subjects that get more advanced as you go up the levels. And they also have supplementary exercises to practice all of those, including answer keys, which is super nice. Of course, skills outside of this, such as listening and speaking, these slides do not cover, but they are a good free supplement to your learning. You can also check out this video of my review for Lingo Culture, which is a super intensive paid program for learning French, and I do compare the Lingoda program plus the slides to Lingo Culture in that video. Some supplemental textbooks can be found on internetarchive.com. You have to make an account and then you can borrow the books for up to 14 days. And I found books like French Grammar by Christopher Kendris, Living Language Advanced French Book, lots of photocopies of French dictionaries, and also some outdated copies of other French books. I also love PDF Drive and Project Gutenberg, which are both great resources for free downloads of French textbooks. Now, the YouTube channels for beginners and up, I really recommend Hey Kids, which is essentially listening to children's songs in French, especially if you're a beginner. It is great for getting more exposure to French without being overwhelmed. Also, Les Pas de Bon is also a good channel for that. Treehouse Direct Français, which provide TV shows for kids, some of them dubbed from the original American TV, like Max and Ruby. If you're looking for something more on YouTube as a course, then I can recommend French Beginners Serial and Oral course with Manesca French course, and it is based strictly on listening and repeating. Français Authentique YouTube channel, which is also a podcast, is great and very, very popular for learning French, especially honing your listening and grammar. He also talks about some really nice expressions once you get into the intermediate stage to use in French. I would say that channel is aimed more from A1 to B2. Learn French with Alexa is also a really, really popular YouTube channel, and she is a great teacher for listening and grammar, and of course, one of the main French teachers on YouTube. By the way, if you do like this video, make sure to give a like to let me know, as well as subscribe for a lot more resource videos, as well as more mindful, more therapeutic approaches to language learning. Commune Française, she integrates a lot of cultural aspects that I really like on top of the language itself, and kind of goes outside of teaching you traditional concepts of the French language you'd get in a classroom and really brings it out to what you would encounter in the language in real life. Oh La La, which is another French series I can recommend. Walk, Talk, and Learn French, made back in 2009, but there are about 8 episodes where Pierre takes you around reading signs, announcements, etc. on the street in context in France. I also have enjoyed the channels like Learn French with Vincent, Learn French with Pascal, and The Perfect French with Dulaine. For intermediates and up, I can really suggest French with Pierre. He has a YouTube channel with listening and grammar, Learn French and Have Fun, The Golden Moustache from Fluent U's YouTube channel. It's under the series Learn French with Comedy. Lingoni French, aimed at A1 to B2. For advanced and up, I can really recommend France 24, TV5 Monde. You can also use TV5 Monde Apprendre, which has some great lessons for French there. Le Monde, France Culture, .fr, Studio Bagel, and then here are a list of influencers if you really, really want to immerse in French. Most videos have subs, and some have filmed a few videos in English. For travel, there's Greg's Way, Cyprien, Joueur du Grenier, Kevin Tran, previously Le Rire Jaune, Norman fait des vidéos. Lifestyle type videos, I can recommend Lena Situations, Lily X, Enjoy Phoenix, Solange te Parle, which is more of a creative, artsy, poetry share kind of channel. Then we have Learning, Les Revues du Monde, History and Science, Nota Bene, which is more about history, Linguistique, Linguistics, Miscellaneous of media, learning, current events, etc. Le Souffle des Mots, which is more of a booktube made by Audrey. And then Hor Humanum Est. Again, I know this is a lot. If you would like to make your language learning much less overwhelming, less stressful, and learn with more confidence, make sure you check the details down below to sign up for one of my workshops that I host year-round to help. For podcasts, beginner level, we can have Coffee Break French that does come with transcripts. You have Easy French Poetry. This is on iTunes for free, about A2 and up. It's essentially a French as a second language program using poetry as a topic for discussion, using everyday conversational French. A well-reviewed series of lessons for beginners and those who want to brush up on French. Learn French in Your Car on Spotify. Grammar and Vocabulary for Beginners offer a lot of guidance in pronunciation and language fundamentals. Learn French by Podcast, News in Slow French, French Pod 101. Transcripts and exercises for these have a paywall, but the audio is free to use, and intro lessons are great for complete beginners. They also have all of this on YouTube. One Thing in a French Day, Inner French, French Voices podcast, French Your Way podcast, and French for Beginners by Linguistica 360. For intermediate podcasts, I can recommend, if you have just stepped into the intermediate phase, to use the Duolingo French podcast. There is a lot more English thrown into there than I would like as more of a upper intermediate learner. However, it is a really good introduction to a little bit more advanced French than you would get at beginning levels. I can also recommend Le Journal en Français Facile, nightly news from RFI presented in slowly spoken French to assist you with comprehension. Français Facile, Parlez-vous FLE, French Blah Blah, French Voices, Join Us in France, Paris O'Clock, French Etc., French Your Way, French on Demand. For more advanced listeners who want to have French podcasts from the French made for the French, I can recommend Les Baladeurs, France Culture, Chose à Savoir, La Poudre, Transfert, Affaires Sensibles, Quoi de Meuf, Le Gratin, Au Cœur de l'Histoire, Ban Mi Podcast, and Les Chemins de la Philosophie podcast, just as some starting points for exploring podcasts. For music at any level, kind of find what you like. I've always loved more of the contemporary pop singers, such as Indila, Stromae, and Maître Gim, but you can also pause the video to see the names of these other popular singers. For vocab and grammar practice for free, usually I like either Memrise or Quizlet. People also like to use Anki. But with Memrise and Quizlet, you can search a lot of flashcard sets that have already been made, and you can also make your own pretty easily. I prefer Quizlet a little bit more. It's the most customizable, and you can search the most sets to find pre-made French flashcards. Flashcards are not everybody's favorite, so we can move on. For activities to practice your French grammar and other exercises for free, I recommend going to conjuguemos.com, Activities French Grammar, thefrenchexperiment.com, lefrançaispourtous.com, bonpatron.com, and this is more for grammar and spelling checks when you are writing in French, frenchstepbystep.wordpress.com, grammarist.com/French, and you can really see with this specific blog post more about the French accent marks and also how to type them on a computer as well as your mobile device. kia.com/shared/French, francaisfacile.com/guide, TV5 Monde, Apprendre, where again you have a lot of videos with matching listening and comprehension exercises and more. For blogs, I also love going through ThoughtCo French. There's a lot on French pronunciation, even more resource recommendations, tongue twisters, nuances in vocabulary, etc. I also like Lawless French. This website provides more comprehensive lessons on French grammar, vocabulary, and culture. Bonjour de France, a website constructed entirely in French with extensive lists of readings accompanied by an interactive lesson that highlights important vocabulary. Plus, you can review questions to test your comprehension. Banque d'exercices de français. FrenchCrazy.com is a blog for how to learn French. They also talk extensively about how to live in France and about just French culture in general. Movies and TV shows. Ma Vie de Courgette is actually my favorite French film. It's actually made from Switzerland producers. Its original language is in French and it is very feel good. You can understand it even if you are getting into B1 territory. Streama is a service that provides links to websites of many television stations in France, and you can also search for programs from other French-speaking countries like Belgium or Switzerland. The Vor, and this page links to a selection of public domain full-length and short films in the French language. Art.tv/fr, documentaries on history, travel, current news segments, all in French. If you are looking for other TV shows to browse, pause the video screen and see the rest of my suggestions here. Language exchanges, I always recommend HelloTalk. italki is a good one. Both of them come with apps. Looking around at different Facebook groups, because there are a ton of people who have made them for learners of French, where they share even more resources and also initiate language exchanges. Looking around at local international organizations, but sometimes they are hard to find, so really kind of dig around. And again, meetup.com is always a good option to look for those in-person or virtual language exchanges online. My book recommendations come more for intermediate learners and above. I personally like to look at all of the PDFs. You can literally Google Harry Potter Français PDF gratuit, I think, and you can find the full length Harry Potter books online. You can also find full audio of most of the 7 books on YouTube so that you can line up the audio with what you are seeing in the PDF. If you do live in the USA, I really do recommend the free Libby app if you do have a library card. You can also see literatureaudio.com for more audiobooks in French. Other free resources and websites that kind of range in level. Ma France website, the BBC offers Ma France, which is a website. I also recommend the BBC, which offers 24 video lessons that will teach you French more for beginners. There is also Francolab, that's more of a French-Canadian site that provides resources for language learners and teachers, includes videos, quizzes, interactive modules, audiovisual presentations, and a wide selection of Canadian programs covering a variety of social, cultural topics. University of Texas also has a Français Interactif website. UT provides a series of interactive vocabulary lessons. Media can be downloaded from the site as well. There's also Foundations of French for Global Communication. Now, this is a massive open online course from King's College London. It is A1 only and it lasts for about 2 weeks. Le Point du Flé, which is a resource database categorized by whatever concept you want to learn, whether that's greetings, seasons, prepositions, anything really for a variety of levels, and pulled from university websites, YouTube, blogs, etc. So that is always a good one to browse. Languageguide.org comes with extra practice exercises for grammar and vocabulary, and I can also recommend CLE International. To make a study plan sample for A1 for a more intensive day at 2 hours per day, I would recommend 1 hour University of Montreal course on EDX in the morning, 30 minutes listening with a beginner podcast on maybe a work commute, 30 minutes coming home in the evening from work using a textbook like Teach Yourself Beginner's French, downloaded from pdfdrive.com. For a less intensive 1 hour per day study routine, I would recommend 30 minutes, for example, with the University of Montreal course. Really having the basic structure of active study in a language is really good. That's why I always include the course first, followed by something supplemental. 15 minutes with a coffee break French A1 podcast, and then 15 minutes watching Peppa Pig or recording new vocab in Quizlet as you watch Peppa Pig. Again, these are just study plan samples. You are a whole human behind your languages with different energy levels, needs, a ever-changing busy life. So if you wish to be less overwhelmed and frustrated with where you are in your progress in languages, definitely come join me in one of my workshops in the comments below. Our B1 study example, 2 hours per day, more intensive. I would recommend an hour from the Étudier en France course, B1 to B2, 15 minutes vocab review from the course and also from previous days that you wrote down vocabulary, 15 minutes grammar drills on francaisfacile.com, 30 minutes watching Fluent Use Learn French through comedy series. For a less intensive 1 hour per day for the intermediate learner, 20 minutes vocab review through Memorize Quizlet, 20 minutes grammar drills on Le Point du Flé, and then 20 minutes with the transcript from the podcast Inner French.